Well, hi everyone. Hope you are keeping warm this winter. I'm certainly not. It's pretty chilly here where I am, but it's warm on the West Coast. We've got some college rugby going on. Division 1A is kicking off for the new year. First off, we didn't get the Storer Classic this weekend because of the LA fires, and the organizers, Harry Bennett, head coach at UCLA, decided that it wouldn't be a good idea to have the tournament, and his main motivation was to not stress resources by having a bunch of college teams show up and play there, and that's very nice of him to think that. And so some teams didn't play. Some had a look at some other options. So Cal Poly and Cal were both going to go to that tournament. They ended up playing together. And so this was a good game between Cal and Cal Poly. Cal Poly showing some positives there and kept it pretty tight for a while. And it ended up being, it was 19-14 at one point before Cal eventually pulled away, won 57-14. Hugo Schrader on the line out. And here's the danger when you decide not to engage them all, as if you back up too far, the guy who catches the ball can just run through and score it himself. And that was a little bit of an issue for Cal Poly in this one. But they do show some flashes. The thing about Cal that they do very well is they stay on task all the way through, so that they were able to just inch their way away. A little bit fatigue perhaps creeping in for Cal Poly. Great final try here with Rand Santos chipping it ahead for Quinn Spiker, the reserve wing, to chase down. Really nicely executed for them. So a good win for Cal, good start for them. Cal Poly more to give there. We also saw UC Santa Cruz taking on UC Davis. This is a good game, and UC Davis pulled off a very nice try here. This one is sort of right off the training ground. It just executed exactly how they want. Get that runner through the gap, bursting on, beautiful. Just need to do a sidestep and you're in under the post. But UC Santa Cruz does respond. A nice little 8-man pickup, and then they power through, they get it out wide, and then a great cutback run. And the funny thing about these cutback runs is sometimes there's a gap right in front that you've created because you're cutting back and changing the direction. They do eventually score off this, but there was a big old hole there that maybe could have straightened up and taken it. Regardless, Banana Slugs win that one 34-24, and this was actually a conference game in the California Conference, and we've had a number of early games before the winter break in this conference. It just makes it easier on a lot of the teams that are in that conference to get a few of those games out of the way. This is by far the closest game so far that we've seen in the conference, 34-24. The biggest participant, or one to take the most advantage of these early games, is St. Mary's, easily the favorite in the conference anyway. They went through 5 games, conference games. They're 5-0 already, and they've won fairly comfortably. So that's so that they can free up their schedule to play the likes of BYU and Cal and Central Washington, people like that, and Arizona. So the big game this weekend was actually Arizona versus St. Mary's, and this one was pretty crazy, really. It ended up 12-10. St. Mary's won. They won really late on a great try. Sione Ofa ends up scoring this, and here's the final try. This is just about one of the maybe 2 times, and we'll see the other try as well, and in fact, really, I felt like there was only 2 times that we really saw St. Mary's rugby go, and one was the try at the end of the first half for Saki Tukuwafu. Really beautiful stuff. And then also Sione Ofa to score the one that tied it up at 10-10. And Mario Storti kicked the fairly easy conversion to win it 12-10. Arizona did have a chance to win it with a penalty goal, hit the post. But the big thing, I think, as we have a look at Arizona's lone try, was really more their defensive effort. Their defensive effort was astonishingly good. The midfield of Maddox King and Ted Champion, I thought they did very, very well in causing problems for the St. Mary's runners and really just sort of bottling them up. And some very good work from the forward pack. So I think that considering Arizona lost fairly convincingly in their bowl game in the CRAA Fall Classic, not a surprise really. Arizona was just getting started, things like that. I think you saw that they put in a lot of work over the winter break, and they came in, and yes, they lost that game, but 12-10. That's the big head turner, I think, is that Arizona might have a shot testing a team like St. Mary's. Having said that, St. Mary's, you can't just sort of chalk someone up and say, well, they're automatically going to be the best in the country or something like that. Yes, they are defending champions. Yes, they graduated a bunch of guys. They are relatively young. So we'll see. We'll see how they work toward that and how they bounce back from that. They did win the game, though. They did pull it out, and I think that says a lot about that team. I personally think perhaps they've got to not depend on Don Bisag quite so much. Yes, he's a capped Eagle. If you start thinking that way, though, therein lies the path to ruin, very obviously. It's the team game you got to play that way. Still, St. Mary's leading the way. Also this weekend, we saw UC Santa Barbara 68-12 over Stanford. Just a good warm-up for them, and then a pretty tough warm-up for Central Washington against UBC. They did lose that in a close one, a good tight one, and it'll be 3 Canadian teams in a row for Central Washington start their 2025 campaign with UBC, UVic, and then Trinity Western on the schedule. So a start here for what we're going to see. Have we seen anything that says, hey, let's draw a conclusion? Yeah, well, I guess we're drawing a conclusion about Arizona. They took a big step forward. That's a big deal. I think Cal Poly is a solid team. They didn't get blown out, really, by Cal, but Cal looks pretty strong as well. Plenty of rugby to be played. Still interested to see what Central Washington can show us on the domestic front, and BYU as well. So that's going to do it just for this quick wrap-up of the D1A scene this past weekend. We'll see you next time. We'll have a lot more games coming up.